Longtime viewers know that I'm a big fan of Danny Meyer, the hospitality expert who created the original Shake Shack, along with some classy New York City restaurants like Gramercy Tavern, Union Square Cafe, and the fantastic new Manhattan that my wife and I both adore. Last year, though, he launched a new venture, Enlightened Hospitality Investments, a fund that invests in companies that share his focus on amazing customer experiences. Remember, he created a whole hospitality index for us years ago, handily outperformed the S&P 500. In October, we learned that Meyer's fund had invested $20 million in a company called Goldbelly. It's a long-distance food delivery that lets you order food from iconic restaurants online, including Jim's Steaks, cheesesteaks in Philadelphia. And that's the company that catered my wedding. And yesterday, thanks to Goldbelly, I was able to have a genuine Philly cheesesteak at 7:15 a.m., not the 1 at 10, in the middle of Manhattan. It's a cool concept. Now, I got a chance to check in with Danny Meyer, along with Joe Ariel, who is the CEO of Goldbelly, and Mark Levitt, Union Square's Hospitality Group's Chief Investment Officer, at another Meyer restaurant I love, Blue Smoke. Take a look. Danny, you've been at the cutting edge of everything involving food and hospitality. Tell me about this venture.
Well, Jim, I don't know if you remember or not, but right about the time the Great Recession was starting, you had me on your show, and you said, I want you to pick the Danny Meyer Hospitality Index, public companies that were making people feel good. And I came up with this market basket, and then you had me back on 6 months later, and then 2 years after that, in that particular index, companies that made their employees feel great, their customers feel great, their communities feel great, were the ones that were outperforming the market by a lot. So Mark and I got together and we said, you know what, that theory really, really works. Why don't we try it in the private sector? And so we have put together a fund we call Enlightened Hospitality Investments, and we're looking for scalable businesses, ideas we wish we had come up with ourselves, leaders we wish we had hired ourselves, but people who primarily are doing things the exact same way I was trying to pick in the Meyer Hospitality Index. And we've got one right here we're going to talk about today, Goldbelly, which I think hits a bullseye.
I think this is so exciting because all of us in the end are maybe from another place, maybe rooting for another team because we're born there, but we can't ever get the smell, the taste of what we loved when we were growing up. How did you logistically figure out that this is even possible, Mark?
It actually came about because we had heard Goldbelly had raised money from a lot of really high-quality tech investors, and we had heard what they were doing, and I asked Danny about it, and he said, I happen to have some Ted Drew's ice cream in my freezer that was sent to me by Goldbelly. So that furthered our interest, and we dug in at that point.
And what the Ted Drew's frozen custard did was, being from St. Louis, it's like, I thought I had to go back home to get Ted Drew's. And all of a sudden, there it is in my freezer. How'd that happen?
Well, Joe, this is what I want to know. I looked at the website, which is just fabulous, and it's inconceivable to me, for not really a lot of money, that I can have what I grew up with. What's changed, actually, logistically, to make it so that it's fresh, it tastes good, that it's possible?
Yeah, so, I mean, that's our mission, to bring people food, love, and memories wherever they are, from the places that mean the most to them. We work with every merchant, one by one, to figure out the best way to ship their items. We taste test everything on the site. Everything is highly curated. It doesn't go on the site unless it gets past my belly.
And you are Goldbelly. You are what I've been regarding as another company I absolutely love. I'm from Brooklyn, is Etsy. I've always felt that the craftsperson was really constrained to the region. You have opened up nationally some fabulous local and regional brands. How empowering is that for a person who's really just been able to deal with one little urban area?
Yeah, that's exactly right. So gourmet and specialty food, $140 billion industry. When you think of the players that are online, the Omaha Steaks, 1-800-Flowers, big, gigantic companies pushing their own product on you, we're a platform. So our whole mission is to empower the most talented regional food makers that are doing things mom and pop style on a local level. They could not enter this economy because of shipping costs, because of managing logistics, customer service, and nobody knows how to find customers online. So we've created a marketplace, more than 1 million customers now, to empower 400 now regional food makers all across the country.
Okay, so tell me how it works. You're all kind of captive St. Louis, all right? You know something in St. Louis. Now, why would I want the thing from St. Louis? I mean, I get you're from it. Why would I look and say, oh, St. Louis ribs, I have to have those?
Yeah, I have a pretty strong point of view on this. I think that the more high tech we've got in our lives, the more high touch we really, really need. And we've made everything so convenient that people now walk around with this remote control to life. They want everything wherever they are, wherever they are. But what's getting lost a lot of the times is the human need for deep-rooted experience that brings back taste memories. So whether or not I grew up in St. Louis, I want to use my home more often. I want to invite friends over more often. And I want to be able to show them something that maybe they could not have gotten. So we've got this big restaurant delivery economy happening all over the place right now. That is or is not good for restaurants. We'll learn that in a few years probably. But what we love about Goldbelly is that this has nothing to do with deciding whether Jim wants to have Blue Smoke at his home or whether he wants to come to Blue Smoke. It's Jim lives in San Francisco. He's heard amazing things, or Hawaii, or Wichita. He's heard amazing things about Blue Smoke, and he says, I want Thanksgiving dinner catered by Blue Smoke in Manhattan in my home tomorrow, and we can actually make that happen.
Actually, to put some numbers around that, we sold, as part of this investment, we set up a Union Square hospitality Thanksgiving pie special. And we sold close to 1,000 pies in, I think it was 44 states, and sold Blue Smoke Thanksgiving dinners in 22 states, including Hawaii.
Okay, and half of the places sold out before we could have even sold more.
What's really interesting, as someone who's in the restaurant business, is that's just incremental gross profit for a company. Look, you guys have done incredibly well, but there are a lot of people who it's just, they're kind of constrained by the size of the place. Their brand name doesn't necessarily allow them to cash in on it. I mean, I am sure there are companies who are in your network have seen their business just skyrocket because of you.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we have some businesses that more than 50% of their revenue are now in shipping.
It's incredible.
We have shops where it's a one-lady shop that started in her own kitchen baking whoopie pies that's opening physical stores, and on Oprah's list.
Well, you have always felt and loved putting people to work. I mean, from the day I met you, you love providing jobs for people. Just talk about what that means, what new jobs that are being created here.
Well, think about it, Jim. No matter where you live in the country, you were doing your business on whatever scale you were doing it. And now all of a sudden, this guy has turned on the spigot and the entire country is now at your disposal. What happens? Well, I've got to buy more flour for my whoopie pie. I've got to put more people to work for that whoopie pie. Will you just go over a couple of the kinds of products I can get on Goldbelly? Because for me, I love traveling, and I'm what they call a gastronaut. I travel to eat. You know,
we call that a food explorer.
I don't know how you stay thin. I mean, you're remarkable.
No, I just love finding the local specialties wherever I go because that's how I learn about people and places. And now it's not that I'm going to stop traveling, but I can actually save a couple miles on the airplane by going to Goldbelly. What are some of the kinds of foods?
So if you don't live in New York, you want New York bagels, and there is no supplement. You don't live in Philly, but you grew up there, you want a real Philly cheesesteak.
You're Essa Bagel?
Essa Bagel, we ship H&H.
I never liked H&H as much as I like Essa, because Essa, to me, is the quintessential bagel.
Yeah, it's a giant, fluffy, doughy, beautiful thing.
I used to run 6 miles so I could go have an Essa Bagel. Give me some more.
7 miles when you wanted cream cheese.
Can't. Veggie cream, no.
Would you put lox on the bagel?
Of course.
Russ and Daughters and Sables on the Upper East Side, 2 great ones. From New Orleans, the Muffaletta sandwich.
Fantastic. One of the most, my daughter went to Tulane. Absolutely must
Yeah,
stop.
from Central Grocery, the original. So iconic foods from all across the country, regional specialties from all across the country, unique items. And around this time of year, gifts is a huge thing because like Danny said, you can spread love from places that mean a lot to you to someone else.
This is the experiential, that's why I mentioned Etsy. No one wants to buy something they can return to the store. It's not creative. You clearly didn't spend any time. I think that if I got what you're offering, everyone would know I spent some time on it, and it would be at home, which is where people really want to be. But I've got to ask you, Danny, going out is also great for the economy. Is this stay-at-home economy, is it good for things?
It is what it is, Jim. And one of the things we learned way back in the year 2000 when we invested in Open Table, the reservations platform.
You spotted that early.
And now we're investors in Resi through our fund, is that you've got to give people what they want. Who was I to say, oh, I don't want to give up my reservations being really nice to you when you really wanted to make your reservation online? So, of course, restaurants are as crucial or more than ever. Bringing people together face-to-face with people in an environment that's not their home is crucial. But if you want to stay home, I want to feed you there too. Right. And I also want to feed you things that maybe you couldn't have gotten if you just went to your local supermarket.
Well, and Joe, just to wrap it up, they go to goldbelly.com, okay? There's a big menu. If you're trying to order right now for a holiday special, put your order in now. I want people to know how it works, because maybe you don't wake up December 23rd and place the order.
Yeah, no, you can order right now. You can predate your orders anytime 3 months in advance. Any food, anywhere, anytime. At the end of the day, our mission is to bring people comfort through food experiences wherever they are.
All right, what's the general time it takes to get an order?
Most of the stuff is overnight or 2-day. But if you want to pre-plan for the holiday, you can do that now.
Perfect. Let's leave it at that, because I want people to do that. I know I'm going to do it, because I'm from Philadelphia. Danny Meyer, Mark Levitt of Union Square Hospitality, and Joe Aria from Goldbelly. Congratulations for everything you're doing. Once again, I salute you for putting more people to work than anybody else. Booyah! Jim Cramer here from Mad Money. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube. Click here to subscribe and get the jump on my exclusives with CEOs, plus market news, investing advice, and a whole lot more.